Hi guys, welcome to another video from Table Podcast. Today we're going to be building Seamus for Malifaux. So I have my trusty tools with me, a set of clippers, some plastic glue and a scalpel. I'll also at one point be using some super glue, but that's because I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet with this base, so I'm only going to tack the model to the base. So let's begin. So I'm going to start by cutting out Seamus's body. This case of cutting out, trimming off our bits of sprue, checking for any mould lines, and there aren't many at all on this model, which is really nice. Just taking off anything I can see. Now we're going to move on to the legs. I'm going to put his legs on first and then move on to the rest of him once I can get him stood up. Again, checking in for any mould lines. And now what's really important with these models is that you dry fit. Just checking where that should go. I'll just get the other leg out as well, just to double check that I'm putting everything in the right place. And I've mentioned on the unboxing video, but we are doing a Tailor for Gamers style series on a starting Malifaux, which is all sponsored by our lovely sponsor, Leodis Games. So please remember to check them out. So one leg there, one lid stuck out, and I've also got the box instructions to double check that I'm looking at that right, which I am. So a nice bit of plastic glue. Get that one in place, move on to the next one. And I'm working quite quickly here because I want to be able to reposition these legs if needs be. So there we go. So we've got him stood at his slight angle, sort of slightly jaunty, almost leprechaun pose. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave that to dry. So I'm going to leave that for about 20 minutes for that glue to set before I go and come back and start doing anything with the rest of him, because I don't want those legs to move, especially once I've got them glued onto his base. So I shall be back shortly. So I'm back with Seamus. He's had an amount of time to dry. The glue's probably not fully dry on him, but it's dry enough that I don't need to worry about his legs popping off when I assemble the rest of him. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a... yeah, well that thing. There we go. Excuse me for a moment. I'm just going to put a drop of super glue on his 1 foot. Now, as I've already said, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the bases for these guys. I'm half thinking of investing in some of the Malifaux base toppers. I'm half thinking of just doing something myself, but as I'm not 100% sure, I don't know whether or not I want him sat on this base directly, or if I want him separate so I can then glue him onto something else. So the super glue I can snap off, whereas if I had plastic glued it, he'd be cemented forever. I've only put it onto his 1 foot. That again will make it him easier to remove. So now I can look at building some more of him. And whilst that dries, I'm going to start off with his bag of tools. So 2 main parts and then a kind of handle. Oh, I've just realised that's tentacles on coming out of there. I really like that. If you've listened to the show, you'll know I have a massive thing for Cthulhu, so I've got quite a thing for tentacles. So again, very carefully, so we don't cut ourselves. We're going to trim off the sprue, take off any mould lines. I'm also considering with his bag of tools using a small magnet and magnetising it to his base. So that, depending on whether or not he has the upgrade, will depend on whether or not he has the bag. So again, that will never go like that. It's quite nice and obvious for dry fit. Check on this part as well. So what we actually have here, looking at it, is we have a bone saw that's been held by some tentacles. And now we ask ourselves the question, so how does that fit in there? Oh, fiddly little pieces. Aha. Looks to be either like that or like that. So again, I'm dry fitting in part to make sure that I can glue these two main parts of the bag together without worrying about the saw and the tentacles needing gluing into it, which it does look like it can, so I shall glue these two. Make sure it's sat right. And place it on there to protect my bit of cloth. Clean this up a bit more. And then that's good to glue on there once that glue has set slightly. So next off, he's only got two pieces left. I'm going to do his arm before I do his hat, because I suspect this will be the fiddly of the two to fit on. And also obviously whilst I'm doing this, that super glue is drying. Yeah, there we go. And that's the bit that I'd forgotten, that he's actually tipping his hat. So to be able to tip his hat, I need his hat in place first, don't I? So again, this is why we're dry fitting everything, giving us that chance to look, to realise where stuff should go, to look and think, hang on, I've not got the right order here. So and just check his hat for mould lines. I'm sure a milliner like Seamus would not want mould lines on his hat. Pop that on. Now again, I want that to at least set slightly before I go and put that arm on, because I'm going to have to be touching around the head as I do the arm. So let's now go back to his bag. Which obviously isn't fully set, but we've gone from it being not set at all to being partially set, which means that we can now figure out how this goes onto here. There we go. Oh, sorry. Couple of small pieces of glue. This is the point that I curse myself for having large fingers, and also for having put that on completely upside down. Should we try that again? Yeah. There we go. One bag of tricks. His hat, well, his head really, will now be, though not fully set. A couple of minutes has allowed it to allow that glue to start setting slightly. Means that if I knock it with this arm as I try to set it in place, we're not going to knock his head off. Now I did half wonder with Seamus, and just very carefully getting that fully lined up. There we go. I did half wonder if I should magnetise his head for when the mad haberdasher is being used, but I decided against that. So we're good to go. So next up in this series for Seamus will be me painting him. So thanks a lot, guys. As ever, if you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below. If you want to find out more about Table Podcast, you can visit our website, tablepodcast.com, or you can get the Tabled Podcast from iTunes and all of the good podcast providers. And also, please, especially if you're in the UK, check out our show sponsor, which is Leodis Games at leodisgames.com. Thanks a lot, guys.